Okay, brothers and sisters, this is Brother Carlton. I'm picking up on my diary, reading my diary from the other night, and the video just cut off. I don't know why. The battery was charged up, but it just kind of went blank. So I'm going to pick up where we left off, if I can find the place. I think I was talking about being on the bus with Aaron Peets and Harry Clark. Okay, so I'm just going to start right here. Harry Clark didn't believe in this ESP. We tried some, but not much happened. The day before, I guessed what number Aaron was thinking of from 1 to 5. I got 4 right answers in a row. When I started to get off the bus, the driver told me that ESP was true, that one of his friends predicted 2 boys were going to commit suicide, and he was right. The bus driver and I knew that ESP was true. Well, you know, ESP is something that's forbidden to Christians. It's, I think it's part of the occult and satanic activity. Satan can actually throw thoughts through our mind. That's why we call him diabolical. Dia means to throw through, I think. Diabolical, as I understand it, has something to do with the Greek word to throw through. So Satan can throw ideas through our minds, or put thoughts into our head, and so I think the ESP is kind of tied into that. The paranormal, or is that what they call it, paranormal? Anyway, I used to be into this stuff when I was unconverted, and like I said, it's something that we shouldn't be involved with. Ouija boards, fortune telling, horoscopes, things like that. When I got home, we killed Clint. We killed Clint, and I'm not sure what I meant by killed. I guess we were pretending, or we were playing around, so kill means maybe to beat him up or something. I don't know. We killed Clint, and we chased him around the yard. Clint beat up Mike and Lee, and all of us wrestled. It was fun since there was nothing else to do. While I was on the side of the house, I thought I heard someone playing pool, so I told Mike to come in. When I got in, Bev asked me if I was through playing. I said yes. So I was told to take my bath. Mike went home. I took my bath real fast so I could play pool. Herb was playing Rick DeMonte. I think it was Del Monte, D-E-L-M-O-N-T-E. Friend of the family, friend of Jackie Clough's. I guess that was her boyfriend at the time. I never did get to play all that night. Anyway, at 10 o'clock, I hopped in bed and listened to the A's on the radio. The last I heard was the California Angels 7 and the A's 6. And the top of the 8th. I dozed off without knowing who won. Well, the A's was my favorite game. Going back, the Oakland A's was my favorite game, favorite team going back to the 60s, I guess 68, 69 when I lived with my aunt and uncle. I remember some of the players. Did I mention this already in one of my videos? I might have said this already, but I think this part got cut off. Anyway, I remember some of the players from the Oakland A's, like Campy Campaneris, I think, Catfish Hunter, Reggie Jackson, which was a home run king at the time, him and Harmon Killebrew from the Minnesota Twins. I remember that. But I used to know all the players on the Oakland A's, or most of the major players. First, second base, pitcher, all that stuff. But it escapes me now. Too many years ago. Anyway, let me go May 25th, 1972. I'm getting to the graduation eventually here. I might have to skip a few pages. Today we had poached eggs on toast. After we got on the bus, Brian gave me 2 firecrackers. He said his mom had a whole pack. At school, Larry Laughlin and I said we would play any 5 or 6 guys. So they got Mono G, that would be Mono Galena, Steve C, that's Steve Kodog, Benny C, Benny Kodog, his brother, Perry, Steve H, I don't know who Steve H is, or was, and Freddie R, that would be Freddie Rivera, I believe. We lost, unfortunately. In Barbers, I studied my amendments. During recess, Mike Benitez and I played a game of one-on-one. I won 24-20. In Hopkins' class, we did math. We rolled dice and flipped coins for probability. Then I studied my amendments before the test. On the test, I think I got about 87%. Mike caught Ronnie Wyman cheating, so Ronnie got an F on the test. Later, Mike came to me and said, quote, "Pam said, you know how to lose friends," unquote. Everyone was sort of mad at Mike, but not me. He, Ron Wyman that is, shouldn't have been cheating. At lunch, we had beer rocks, B-E-R-O-C-K-S, beer rocks. I don't know what that is. I'm not even sure I'm spelling it right. I probably butchered the word. After lunch, I got a basketball, and Mike and I played. I didn't feel too good. I felt sick. He beat me that game. After lunch, I went to the restroom. I wanted to go home, but I thought I'd get better. In English, the kids finished giving their reports. That still gets me mad because I can't find my bookmobile book. In Spanish, I felt pretty sick, so I just rested my head on the desk. Mr. Smith, the Spanish teacher, asked us to say the months in Spanish. You know, I didn't even remember taking Spanish in the 8th grade. I remember taking it in the 10th or 11th grade at Linden High School, but I didn't remember we had it in 8th grade. Anyway, interesting. At PE, I got a basketball, and Mike Benitez and I started a basketball game. But Ko and Ronnie Wyman said that we had to go play on the little courts. I went to the restroom again because my stomach felt awful. When I came walking on the courts, Mr. Barber had a talk with me, asking me where I was and why I didn't ask him if I could go to the restroom. Well, you know, I was in no mood to go and ask him when I felt sick. Anyway, John Martin and I had a basketball game with Ron Galena, Ron Berg, Benny Kodog, and his brother, Steve. When the bell rang, we all went back to Barber's room until we got dismissed. When he let us out, I got on the bus and talked with a couple of girls in the back seat. I tried some ESP, but had no luck. I was right once in a while. Cindy gave me some love beads. That'd be Cindy Whiteside, I believe. Just before I got off the bus, I asked Mr. Johnson to pick a number from 1 to 5. I guessed 3, but it was 2. I didn't have any time to concentrate. Yeah, that was my excuse. When I changed my clothes, I went outside. Mike Crawford came over and so did Clint. Lee, Tammy, and the rest of us watched Jackie and Rick feed the kittens milk. Then later, we had a game of football out in the pasture. I read this yesterday, but I'm not sure it got recorded. I don't think it did. So I'm reading it again. Hopefully I didn't duplicate myself here. I thought it was boring, so we decided to play tackle in the front yard. Clint and Mike just got out of the way when I was running with the ball. They were scared, I guess. Well, yeah, I was a lot bigger than them, I think. I would imagine that they would be a little afraid. It'd be like Rick Bannis, who was a big guy in our freshman football team. It'd be like getting in front of him. He's about 220 pounds, I believe, 5'9" or 5'10", 220 pounds. And I was 5'1", 95 pounds maybe, my freshman year, maybe 100. I wrestled the smallest weight division, which was 95 pounds. So imagine a guy like me getting in front of a guy like Rick Bannis, okay? Twice my size. No, I'd get clobbered. Let's see here. Then later, Jackie, Lee, and Tammy and Then later, Jackie, Lee, and Tammy went with Bev to the store. Mike and I played catch with Ropesy and Chuck. Ropesy, that name sounds familiar. Then Chuck Blaylock came over for a while and talked to Bev. Chuck Blaylock was a friend of the family. He also got me, for my birthday, he got me a book on chess. And that's how I got really good at chess. This was my 8th grade year. And later on in high school, I was on the chess team and was very competitive, got some couple trophies. Anyway, I found out later that we weren't going to school because we had to get up and go camping. At 9 o'clock, I watched TV. Longstreet was on. At 10 o'clock, I went to bed. The A's game wasn't on, so I just listened to some music and fell asleep. Yeah, I listened to some music on this radio that my mother bought me when I was in Mary Graham Hall. I remember that. It had a clock radio on it, and never know what happened to that old radio. It was a brown radio, and I used to listen to music. Songs like Cat Stevens' Peace Train, if you remember that. That must have came out around 71 or 72. I imagine it was a current hit at the time. And I can't really remember any other songs right now from 1972. Okay. Let me fast forward a little bit. I think that was the 25th of May. That's page 26 in my diary. Let me just jump to oh, we went camping. Well, I'm skipping all that. That was at Horseshoe Bend, I think. And that was fun. We went camping every now and then. My foster parents liked to camp. I liked to camp. My aunt and uncle used to go camping at Yosemite and Alpine Lake. We went fishing there one weekend, I believe. So that was part of my life. I'm going to skip this and jump to, let's see. Let me go to June. June the 9th. I think this was the day we graduated, or the day before, but anyway, let me cover this material. June 9th, 1972. Today I woke up and had breakfast. When I got on the bus, I talked to Karen Peets. Finally, we arrived at school. In Barbers, we just talked. In Barbers, we just talked. In Hopkins, we just sat around. Okay? In Hopkins, we just sat around. We got out of school at 1:30. Today is our last day at Waverly. Tonight is our graduation. Anyway, when we were let out of school, or let out of our classes rather, I gathered all my books and jumped on the bus. When I got home, I played basketball. I just played with the kids until it was time to go to graduation. Just before we left for graduation, Bill took 2 pictures of me in my robe, graduation robe. Can't even talk tonight. Then we left. It was raining. When Bill let me off at Waverly, I got my robe and ran toward the school. I left my records and swimming trunks in the car. Bill and Bev went to pick up my grandma. Boy, I was a stickler for details, wasn't I? I left my records in the car. Those were the records that I was hoping we would play after the graduation. Apparently we went out and went dancing afterwards. So my foster parents went to pick up my grandmother, great-grandmother Lois. I went to the auditorium and looked around. Then Mike Benedis' parents came. His sister told me to put my robe in the kindergarten room. So I went there. I waited until everyone came. Mrs. Hopkins was there, and so was Grits, the principal. Mr. Grits. I said Grits in my diary, but that's not the proper way to describe the elementary school principal. Mr. Grits. At 7:30, we all lined up in the hallway. My mom came out and said hello. Then we all lined up. The rain stopped. Then we marched down the alley of the auditorium. There were hundreds of parents. When we got up on the stage, Mike led the flag salute. Bet you forgot all about that, didn't you, Mike? After that, we sang a song called "I Like to Teach the World to Sing." Then later, Mr. Jacobs gave out the citizenship awards. They were trophies, but I didn't get one. Okay, too bad. Then later, more were given out. It was scary looking out at the audience. Then we sang If and Yesterday. Later, we received our diplomas. Then our last song was Everything is Beautiful. Well, those were the days when the songs on the radio, at least they were considered music. Unlike a lot of the music today, this rap music and a lot of the songs, I can only imagine what the children are listening to today, the 8th and 9th graders, okay? Let's see. Then we marched out. Mike Benedis' grandpa took a picture of both of us. John Martin took one of us. Mike's grandpa took 2 more pictures, one of him and me by the office door. And the other was of Mike and Lori Souza. Later, I went to see Bill, Bev, Grandma, and my mother. Mother bought me 2 comic books. Later, Bill took me over to the party. Lynn, that would be Lynn Fogel. Lynn had a black light about 3 feet long with several posters. The poster was fun, or the posters were fun. Fun to look at, I guess, yeah. There were cookies and punch. I danced with Nikki, that would be Nikki Harrison, once. Then I went in the backyard to see their pool. They had a ping pong table. We played a little while. Then later I went back in the garage. I was waiting for Kim Gilchrist, but she never came. Later, Terry Williams came and I danced with her. I danced with Cora, that'd be Cora Galena, Terry, Lori, Karen, and several others. Bill came to pick me up at 12 o'clock. When I got home, I found out that I left my records at Lynn's, but I didn't worry about it. I brushed my teeth and went to bed. There it is. So my 8th grade graduation. Now, that's the first 57 pages of my diary. I think I'll end there for now and maybe pick up again later in another session. Thank you for patiently bearing with me. Till we meet again.